Are you looking to move to the Maryland area of the USA? Shoot me an email. I can help you. There's no place like home.
All right, Rodent Sports is back.
The boys are back in town, baby.
My laptop works.
Soundwave, jam that transmission.
So here we go again. We're gonna talk a little bit about baseball and football. Baseball, as it's coming to the end of its regular season, most of the things are settled, but there's a few outstanding issues that we're going to discuss briefly. And the NFL, which of course is still in the embryonic stages of their season, 2 weeks only gone. And we'll start with the NFL because, again, it's a little early to be making any grand conclusions, but there are some big stories coming out of the first 2 weeks. And for me, number one is the Buffalo Bills.
You really feel this way? Yes, I do.
Who a lot of people loved them as their Super Bowl pick this year. They were the second favorite in Vegas going in. They have set the tempo. They absolutely wiped the floor with the defending Super Bowl champion LA Rams in LA, and did that despite committing 4 turnovers. And then on Monday Night Football, in their home opener, boat raced the Tennessee Titans, the defending AFC South champions, and last year's number 1 seed in the AFC playoffs. Buffalo wiped the floor with them too. They are 2-0. They are playing up to the hype. Their offense is on fire. Josh Allen is on fire. And so Buffalo, the road goes through Buffalo right now. Kansas City certainly will have something to say about that. Perhaps a few of the Chargers will too out in LA also. But if you're talking about who are the best teams in the league, those are probably your 3 best teams in the NFL right now. The NFC is a kind of a jumble still. The big story over there, believe it or not, is the New York Giants. Because not a lot of people had the Giants winning their first 2 games on their bingo card. And it's funny because new coach there, and who is it? It's the former offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, Brian Daboll, also known as the guy that helped turn Josh Allen into the monster he is today. Well, he's doing some pretty good work with Daniel Jones so far, and Saquon Barkley is back. He is back. It's been 2 years since that injury, and he looks like his old self again. He had the big 2-point run to win the game against Tennessee in the home opener on the road. They beat Carolina. Now, granted, it may turn out on exposed form that Tennessee and Carolina aren't much, but they're 2-0, and they're facing Dallas without Dak Prescott on Monday night coming up. A game that didn't look like anything 3 weeks ago when the season, or a few weeks ago when the season started, is now an absolutely huge game in the NFC East. But in general, the NFC is kind of a jumble. Philadelphia looks really good after 2 games. You know, they survived a typical Detroit Lions comeback in the home opener, and then dusted Kirk Cousins and the Vikings at home. They play Washington this week. Washington fortunate to be 1-1.
I don't know what you are.
And in general, it's just a big jumble because the 49ers lost to the Bears week 1 and now don't have Trey Lance. They're going back to Jimmy Garoppolo, which again, short term might be good, long term, I don't know. The Packers have been uneven in 2 games. Terrible at Minnesota, and then not really impressive against the Bears. Although I think they did end up covering the spread in that game, but not very impressive against the Bears. And Tampa looks good. You know, their defense is on fire. They held the Cowboys to a field goal on Sunday Night Football, and they did the same to the Saints until the very end of the game. And their defense forced 5 turnovers against the Saints. And they're going to have to lean on it because Tom Brady's not been playing that great so far.
Think about the future.
So the Bucs defense is going to have to carry them. But I wouldn't put any of those teams in the NFC in the class of the Chiefs, the Chargers, or the Bills.
Oh, right. I knew that.
They are out front. They are way out front. And really, right now, it's hard to see anybody outside of those three winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yo, they crazy. They crazy, yo.
But they're all in the same conference, so that kind of is going to make it tougher on all of them. So that's the lay of the land in the NFL. Again, very early stages. You really can't start making any big conclusions or really getting a context for the season until you get to October and really the middle of October. And then you've had enough of a sample size and you're 1/3 through the season that you can start to make some start to make some conclusions and start to sort of figure out how the picture looks. So then that takes us to Major League Baseball, which is, which anybody that watches this channel knows I haven't been watching a lot, but we are in the final 2 weeks of the season. But a lot of issues are settled. Most of the issues are settled. You start in the AL. The Yankees are going to win the AL East. I mean, they'd have to have a huge collapse, and they were down, I think, 4 or 5 runs tonight and came back to win, which included Aaron Judge hitting his 60th home run. So he's tied Ruth, and he's now going after Maris for the real record, because forget all those steroid guys that hit home runs. Theirs don't count as far as I'm concerned. So Judge is 1 away from tying Maris and 2 away from taking it. And Aaron Judge is also going for the Triple Crown. He leads in homers and RBIs. He's 1 point behind Luis Arraez of Minnesota. So that's, even if you're not that interested in the home run thing because you recognize the steroid users, Triple Crowns are extraordinarily rare, and Aaron Judge is making a serious bid for one. So that's one of the few dramatic things left in baseball, is that, because the Yankees are definitely going to win that division. Toronto and Tampa Bay, barring a collapse, are going to be in the playoffs. Seattle, who hasn't been in the playoffs for nearly 20 years, barring a collapse, will be in the playoffs. Houston has won that division. The only other thing in the AL that's an actual pennant race is Cleveland and the White Sox, who, as I record this, the White Sox are facing Cleveland in their first of a 3-game series. That game is tied 3-3 in the 7th, so, big time white knuckle pressure at the new Comiskey Park. Real pennant race baseball there. That's where it is. They're playing the next 3 days. And then, unfortunately, they're not playing each other again this year. And the White Sox finish up with Detroit, who are, as we speak, looking like they're putting the Orioles' long shot playoff hopes out of their misery. Then Minnesota, who's in 3rd in that division and is fallen out of it. They actually get 2 series with Minnesota, 1 at Target Field, and then they finish the season with 3 at home against Minnesota. And then they have to play San Diego, so that's a big series because San Diego's involved in one of the few outstanding issues in the NL. And speaking of the NL, let's go to the National League, where the Mets have clinched a playoff spot, and the Braves will follow shortly. The 2 of them are going to fight it out for the division, but they're both going to make the playoffs. St. Louis, barring a collapse, will win the NL Central. The Dodgers have already won the NL West and will likely end up with the best record in baseball. The wild card, of course, is where things are going to get interesting there. As I said, the Braves are going to be a wild card team. It's just a question of whether they're going to catch the Mets to win the East.
When I choose gun bucket, they're gonna scrape you off the walls with a squeegee.
There are 2 wild card spots left and 3 teams are fighting for them. San Diego, who made the big trade for Juan Soto, an absolute coup, but have kind of spun their wheels since getting him. They are in the number 2 spot. They're 1 game ahead of Philadelphia, and they're 4 games ahead in the loss column of Milwaukee. Philadelphia is sitting in that last spot, 3 games ahead of Milwaukee. Milwaukee, who I believe was winning against the Mets tonight.
Look again.
No, they lost to the Mets tonight, so big opportunity. So that's good, especially for the Phillies, who lost in Toronto to the Blue Jays. And San Diego, who is out west playing the Cardinals right now, the division leading Cardinals, and they're up 3-0. So big opportunity for the Padres there. So that is what is outstanding in the MLB. Unfortunately, one of the things that I miss, and I think baseball misses with all these wild cards now, is that you really just don't get that true heart-pounding, nerve-jangling pennant race baseball in September, because again, a lot of times you see situations where teams have got fallbacks to make the playoffs, and like in the case of the American League East, you know, the Yankees are going to win, but Toronto's definitely going to make it, or is very likely to make it, and Tampa Bay, who in third place, is very likely to make it. So you don't get that, but you are getting it in Cleveland, where again, as I said, it's 3-3 as we're recording this. It's 3-3 in the seventh, so it doesn't get any tighter than that. And that's again one of the many things that baseball used to have in their favor that they don't have anymore, and it's why they're, you know, second line win to the NFL, among many other reasons. So that's it. Just wanted to get back on the horse here on this channel and get going again. So we'll just do that little update. We hope you enjoy this. Like and subscribe. Share it around if you are so inclined. We really appreciate it when you do. Thanks for watching, and until next time.
That's it. We're done, right?